Hello everyone, how is it going? I've been getting lots of questions on my workflow and on how I edit my travel photos, so I thought today I will show you how I achieve this dreamy but still natural film-inspired look. I was approached by Skylum, the team behind Luminar Neo, and they asked me if I would try out their software. Luminar Neo has a lot of cool features and advanced AI tools that Capture One doesn't have, at least the version of Capture One I currently have. Previously, I would just process my raw files in Capture One, and then I would right-click and go edit in Luminar Neo to just experiment with a few fun features. Especially with the mystical filter, which adds this beautiful glow, and it's such a unique feature and I really love the look it creates, but I hadn't explored much beyond that. And since I'm a naturally very curious person, I decided to try something new and give Luminar Neo a proper try, and I think it might be one of the best tools out there for editing images, especially for the type of travel photography I do. This video is sponsored, but I was given complete creative freedom, and if there is something I don't like, I am allowed to say. For those new to Luminar Neo, it is a software that is known to make complicated edits simple with just a click. This is a photo I took in Venice last summer. It can do some crazy things like swapping the sky. Let's see how this is gonna turn out. Okay, I mean, that's maybe too much for me, but one can have fun with it. A tool I actually use for a lot of my photos in Venice is the water replacement tool. The water there can sometimes be quite green, and this tool is great because instead of manually tweaking the greens, you can fix it with just a click and then it masks the water for you. It's also super customizable, so the final result still looks very natural, and look at this, I think it looks much better and less swampy. I do like a natural look. My style isn't about crazy and natural colors, and that's a conscious choice. And because I like this type of look, the starting point before I do any editing is quite important to me. And it's also why I rely on Fujifilm cameras. Their color science is excellent, even if you are not a super technical photographer or you don't want to be. Their raw files are really easy to use and to work with. I like using Capture One, especially because they render Fujifilm files very well, but I found a way to do the same thing in Luminar Neo and it will look just as good. For example, I took this photo in Kyoto a few weeks ago. I usually shoot to protect my highlights, which often means underexposing slightly, and the way I shoot, I generally set my camera to aperture priority and then use exposure compensation to underexpose. So now I'm gonna show you how I edited these pictures, how it went from this to this, and how it's gonna look exactly like how I edited this a few weeks ago. Okay, so the first thing I do is go into Develop Pro. I select camera profile and then select a custom profile for Fuji, and instantly the file goes from looking a bit desaturated and flat to something much richer, full of color and contrast. Next thing I do is fixing the white balance. I go into the color section. This image looks a bit too green for me, so I will add a touch of purple. I like a subtle magenta tone. It reminds me of Portrait 400. And then I'll add a bit of warmth to the image as well. And this is already a great starting point, but obviously I'm gonna tweak things even more in the light section. I will lower the contrast just a bit to see how that feels. The highlights are already well preserved, but I will bring them down even more to recover a bit more detail. Then I will lift the shadow to reveal more of the painting on the right and some details on the ceiling. I treat whites like highlights, but for the whole image, so I will lower those again slightly, and with blacks I'll lift them just a touch to keep some detail while maintaining a moody look. I could push it a bit further, but I want to keep a sense of depth in the image. Then I discovered this tool called Enhance that I don't think I've ever seen in other softwares before. I think it analyzes your image and automatically makes corrections. I only slide it slightly, but it adds something really nice and it just brings the image to life a bit more. Then I will go into colors and I will reduce the greens, increase the yellows just a tiny bit, and tweak the hues until they feel right. This is usually my general starting point, and if there is a sky in the image, I would usually tweak the blues too. Then I move on toning, where I like to add a bit of green to the highlights and sometimes the shadows, but still keeping it very subtle. So this is the part where I get to have fun and add some little tweaks to make it look a bit more like film and add that sort of dreamy element to it. Structure is pretty much the clarity slider. Sometimes I do +5, other times I do -5 depending on the image. I think some softness would look nice, so I go for the latter. Then I add a touch of matte for the underexposed film look without going too crazy. And after having done all of this, I want to add some texture to mimic film, so I go to film grain, and rather than just applying to the whole image, we can add some depth by adding just to the midtones and highlights with the masking tool. For this image, I would like to keep it quite subtle, so I'll keep the grain quite thin. And lastly, a touch of mystical to make everything glow just slightly, and done! You can easily be tempted to overdo it, and if I wanted, I would, but I still want the image to feel natural and not overly stylized. There is also a bag I want to remove, and that can be easily done using the erase tool. There is a couple of notes I want to make about this software that at first they confuse me a bit. The first thing is that whenever you make some edits in the tools sections, once you move the slider, then those edits go in the edit section, which makes sense because then you get to see all the edits you have done. But at first I was very confused because I will go back to the tools section, and whenever I will open a slider, it will see that it's all moved back to 0. So yeah, it was a bit confusing at first, but now that I got so used to it, it kind of makes sense. A lot of programs these days use AI tools, but what makes Luminar Neo different from everyone else, I think it's how easy it is to use. Some editing software can really slow down your laptop, make your laptop extremely hot, and things glitch, but that's not the case with Luminar Neo. Everything went super smoothly all the times I've used it, and the files upload very fast and export very fast, so that's something that I really like about it. Another big plus is that it's affordable and you don't have to have a subscription, but instead you just do a one-time purchase and then you get a lifetime license. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I found it helpful. If you want to try Luminar Neo, you can find a link in my description box with a discount code Lisa10, and let me know if you're gonna use it, if you're planning to use it, or if you used it before. Leave a comment below. I read all of them and reply if you have any questions, and that's it from me today. I'll see you in the next video.